Hey, this is Kristen.
And this is Aaron. And this is the Drive Mode Show. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Today, we're going to talk about the 2020 Hyundai Sonata
Hybrid.
Hybrid.
So we're going to talk about the less fuel one.
Okay, I had the gas-powered one last week, and so it'll be interesting to compare the two.
Definitely. Just for some context, this right here that's behind me, that's behind me is from a presentation that we watched today from Hyundai. Since with the whole pandemic thing, we're not able to go to meetings anymore. So now we're doing them virtually. And Hyundai did a presentation on the new 2020 Sonata Hybrid. And we learned a bunch of stuff, so we thought, hey, we should do a video about this and share that info. So the number one thing that I got out of it is there is a solar roof on the thing. And
yes, I saw that at the Chicago Auto Show. Did you see it?
I did. I remember seeing it, but I remember thinking, it's just another one of those gimmicks. Because most of the time you see a solar roof and it really isn't doing much, right? It seems to be mostly there for looks. But this one actually has a huge amount of power capability potential, and that was amazing. So I'll flash some numbers across the screen if you want to see the comparisons and stuff to others with solar roofs, like the Toyota Prius Prime outside of America. So here in the US we don't get it, but in Europe and other places they have it. It's interesting to see how much it's capable of doing.
Now, the solar panels, I understand, are only available on the limited trim. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Did I get that right?
I believe that's what was said, yes. Also,
and what was struck, what I found interesting about it, sorry to step on you there,
No.
was that the solar panels on the Sonata are about 30 pounds lighter than a panoramic sunroof. So in terms of miles per gallon, that makes a difference.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. You have to think about it though. A panoramic sunroof is a big piece of glass, and glass is heavy. And then on top of that, it has to be safety glass. So it's not just a chunk of plexiglass that you buy at the hardware store. It's layered safety glass. When you go to a panoramic or a solar roof, that is mostly silicone. So the covering and stuff is mostly silicone, far lighter in weight because it doesn't need to be nearly as thick. So it's interesting.
I was reading about some technology yesterday about this company that is creating solar panels it's a window and a solar panel in one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be interesting to watch how that evolves, to see if something like this could be a solar panel sunroof.
That would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm trying to remember where I saw a concept like that. Was it Fisker that did that? Somebody did that as a concept. It wasn't in the production model. I believe it was the original Fisker Karma. The concept for the car that they eventually produced, that Justin Bieber bought, and then the company's now different.
How did you know that Justin Bieber bought it? That is
there was a news story because he bought one that was all chrome. So he bought a chromed out Karma, or somebody bought it for him as a birthday present, whatever. I don't know how, but anyway, I remember the story.
All right, so let's go back to the Sonata.
Yes.
And I just did my review of the gas-powered Sonata, and because we're audio people, I had the limited, and it had the Bose stereo, which was great. I mean, the sound was very good. However, the audio controls themselves were a little bit, they were missing some things. First of all, they had a volume button, and it had a nice texture on it. I like the little bezel texture of the knob,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't have a tuning knob at all.
Oh, okay.
So it was very difficult to figure out how to change stations, and I didn't like that. I like to be able to scroll through different stations. I have like 50 different XM channels that I like to listen to, and those don't all fit in my favorites. I like to be able to go back and forth or scroll around more easily when I'm using audio, and it shouldn't have to be that complicated.
So did it have the buttons like the track select buttons that usually also work as channel select.
Yeah, on the left side of the steering wheel, it had volume here, and then you could select from favorites.
Okay.
And then it had seek, but yeah, I'm spoiled because I just had the Chevy Traverse, which had all of the options that I like to have, change channel by channel. It made it really easy, as well as a lot of the FCA vehicles that do the same thing.
I just wonder about that because sometimes those track select also do channel, surf through the channels. And then sometimes, apparently in the Hyundai there, they only go through the favorites, which I find highly annoying because the favorites are not necessarily what I want to be listening to.
Right.
Especially if somebody else has been in the car.
And I looked at the manual, so I didn't see any other way to do it.
So that is an interesting thing because it's one of those little tiny things that seems dumb until you use it and it annoys you. Then it becomes a real downer.
Well, I know it's those little nitpicky things, right? Because overall, I think the Sonata is a beautiful car. The design is lovely. I love the spoiler. I like the way that the tail lights look. Very nicely laid out. Now in the back seat, this is a very small thing. There's no cup holders that you can see, but if you pull out the console in the middle seat, it's there, but it's not evident that they're in there. In other words, there's no little handle or a kind of grip to pull down the console. You have to reach your fingers in there. So we couldn't find it at first.
Okay. Did you hit it a
And
couple
when you have
times?
kids in the car,
Just be like, open.
no, you just have to reach in and grip it out. It's leather, in the Limited it was leather anyway. It was there. But in the meantime, we didn't know where to put our cups, and the water bottle holders on the side are a little bit small.
Okay. Well, going back to the hybrid that we were looking at, those, I assume, looking at the interior that they showed, for the most part, it looks like it's going to be exactly the same as the gas version. Outside of the instrument cluster, it didn't look like anything had changed. Then, but I was interested that. So if you get the blue model, you get 54 on the highway, I believe was the number. I'll correct it with some text if I'm wrong. And with the models that have all the good stuff in them, so the what's their middle model called?
The SEL and the Limited.
And then the Limited. With those, you lose 3 or 4 miles per gallon. It was a big drop. I think it was
like 54 to 47 I typed in because
I'll put those numbers up too.
I thought it was probably about the features.
In fact, they had a good chart that I'll try to show that has the overlay of all of those models and what their MPG were. And I was quite surprised, and I know exactly why it's happening. It's content weight. It's the weight of the vehicle, and then they probably changed the drive dynamics a little bit. Because if you're buying the blue, you're probably mostly fuel efficiency minded, and so they're going to give you the most efficient transmission mix. Whereas with the other ones, maybe they're being a little more aggressive. I don't know, but it was an interesting question. I was interested to know though that Hyundai is expecting up to 10% of their Sonata sales to be this hybrid. That's a big jump from before because even Toyota only used to expect about 5% out of their hybrid sales, and now they're looking at more like 20. So for Hyundai to come in and to be expecting 10 is a pretty big deal. So that was
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and I noticed that they are targeting right now. I think they have 6 eco-conscious cars, and they're moving to 13 by 2022.
Yeah, so just in the next couple years, we're going to see, I assume, electrified versions of current vehicles, maybe one new one, but I don't really think that because I think unless they do an SUV that we don't know is coming, I would think that the Ioniq is covering that as far as being the electric only, and the what's the other one they have? I always think Kona, but that's not what it is. It's the one that was built to be a hybrid to start with. That's a little crossover there. I think it maybe was the Kona, but
it's Kona. Okay. Yeah, that's the Kona.
And so I really kind of assume that they're just going to be like adding hybrid options to maybe like the Palisade, the Santa Fe. Santa Fe already has a hybrid, doesn't it?
The Santa Fe does.
It did.
I think.
It might be one of those that they did it and it didn't sell, so they quit doing it, and now they'll just bring it back.
I have quarantine brain. That's my excuse. I cannot remember.
It is really cool to see, though, that they have that they reconfigured so that you don't lose trunk space with the new hybrid system. So the trunk space is restored with this new design, and they didn't lose any backseat headroom by stuffing everything under the seats. Also really cool. So, plus,
yes,
I have
and
more
with the
cars.
gas-powered model, it had a big trunk. So.
There's more cars up there.
There is. And that's a plus. I mean, it has a lot of great things going for it. I don't know what the hybrid cost is, but I know with the limited and the gas-powered model, it's right around $35,000. Mm-hmm. So for all you get, all the driver assist features, all of the comfort, I think it's a really good value. Mm-hmm. One of the features I really like on this vehicle, as well as they had on the Palisade, when you activate the turn signal, it turns on the camera on the side mirror.
Yeah.
And you can see along the side of your car, so you could see a motorcycle, a cyclist, another car. It's a really good feature.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool too, because once you get used to it being there, then you get in the habit of your eyeball track going from looking at the side mirror to running across the instrument cluster as you come back up to look out the windshield. And so it tells you, that quick glance, half a second at most, that little glance tells you everything that's over on that side. I got really used to that in the Palisade, really, really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I got used to it in the Sonata in just a week, and they just took it away today and exchanged it, and I'm kind of going to miss it. The trunk space really is pretty great. We fit tons of stuff in there.
Yeah, the Sonata and most mid-size sedans now, but the Sonata for sure, it has what I consider to be a Jersey 2 body with room for the lime for the bag of lime and the short-handled shovel. So it's got a lot of room in there. The two top models, part of their big weight difference is that they have a spare tire. So they have the little compact donut spare. Whereas the blue model has the tire inflation kit and no spare. So.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember seeing the question.
I don't think they said how much weight, but I'm guessing off the top of my head, remembering spare tire weights, it's somewhere around 9 pounds. So it's a fairly significant number coming out of the trunk, and usually it's coming out of the trunk where the behind the axle. So it's changing the weight distribution a little bit too.
One thing that Hyundai does really well, and I think that they're getting better and better in terms of service, and their warranty is spectacular. It's a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty. So you're buying a car at a great value that's going to last you a long time, and along the way, everything's covered.
And 10 years on the powertrain. So it's pretty great.
Yep. I mean, plus you can get deals not just right now, but for a little while now, you can get longer financing options. They're offering 60-day deferment for payments. They have college graduate programs. So Hyundai is offering a lot of different incentives.
And Hyundai does a lot with active duty military incentives, first responder incentives. They have a lot of programs for a lot of different people that probably need them. In fact, I think they also still have a teachers. So anyone who works in education, they have a program for them. So really
good.
Cool. We learned when we were car shopping last year that Hyundai and Kia have what they call friends. Well, it's basically friends and family discounts for active duty military, active duty law enforcement, a whole list of people. Hyundai had those, Kia had those, Toyota has some of those. There's several companies, so it's always worth looking to see if that's available to you.
Agreed. learned a lot today, and I am looking forward to driving that 2020 Sonata Hybrid.
I am too. I like the new spoiler. It looks cool. It's a nice
I like
looking
it too.
car. So there you go. That's kind of the wrap up of what we saw today, right?
That's it. Yep. I enjoyed it. Thanks for chatting today, Aaron. This was Drive Mode. This is Kristen.
And this has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon.